Okay, was it time to ask each other questions if you have anything that you'd like to share or to ask? And we'll just start at the beginning again.
Okay. First of all, I'm not going to ask one of these guys a question because I think it's so important for you to know I'm not running against these guys. I'm running in this race to have the opportunity to serve you and your interest in Congress. So that's it. Thank you.
All right.
Excuse me. I feel the same way. Any questions that need to be asked by you. These guys here are good guys. Any one of them will serve us well. I have traveled up and down the district and quite frankly, more than once or twice, several times. And the thing keeps coming back is they're ready for a change. So whatever you do, they're wanting a change and they need you to help them. And we're ready, we four are ready to offer ourselves for that change.
Well, I'm going to ask a question. All right. Okay, but it's not going to be that bad. All right. So, March the 23rd, the big giant $1.3 trillion omnibus bill came up. Okay? It included a lot of fat. It included money for sanctuary cities. And it included $500 million for Planned Parenthood. Now, I'm saying right now, I would have been a no vote. I would have been an absolutely no vote. Your congressman and my congressman voted for it. I'd like to know how my brothers up here would have voted on that. So there you go.
I can say without reservation, I would have voted no. Mo Brooks said that was the worst budget. I would have voted no. Anytime when I make a promise to you and I tell you I'm not going to Washington to vote on Planned Parenthood, I'm not going to vote on it. If they sneak it into a big omnibus budget, I'm not going to vote for it. I'm not going to vote to raise your taxes. That same bill raised your taxes whether you know it or not. I'm not going to vote to fund partial Obamacare. That bill funded partial Obamacare. She voted for it again. Don't fall for the misguidance and the information that you're being fed. You're not being represented in Washington, D.C. Our opponent filed her tax return, or her FEC numbers just Sunday night. 75% of her $1 million war chest is from PACs and special interests. Now, does she represent you? No, she has been bought and paid for by the Washington establishment.
I can tell you that I've done a couple of interviews since that omnibus bill was passed, and I have plainly stated, no, I would never have voted for, signed, whatever. I believe what we have to do, we have to get behind President Trump. We have to get the establishment out. We have to go with his agenda, Planned Parenthood, sanctuary cities, the dadgum wall, okay? The government, Bobby said it earlier, the government's first priority to this country is to protect the citizens. So if it takes building the wall, dadgummit, let's build the wall. Amen. So, right, so anything, outside of that, look, I tell everybody, do I have a second?
Yeah.
Okay. In 2016, we seen a movement in this country, okay, where we elected as a majority a president with no political experience. Now, we done that because we believe then, as we believe now, that through his agenda, we can make this country great again and we can make this country safe again. Now, we need to take that same movement from Washington, D.C. and bring it back to the states. These I hate using this word, these career establishment politicians that's not serving anybody but their self and their special interest groups, they got to go. Drain the swamp. Amen. Okay?
Amen.
I've had to DC and met with Mo Brooks, and he's exactly right. The deficit spending is probably one of the biggest crises we face in this nation as a republic. When we went to Montgomery, we inherited an Obama economy that was on a downturn, guys. We cut $1 billion in spending, and we carried our agenda, whether it was pro-life or immigration reform, those sort of things. So I'd have been a no vote because I was always a pro-life vote. So that's a conflict of interest. But I tell you this, we've cut $1 billion in spending. The national debt must be addressed, and that would have been a no vote for me.
Absolutely.
Anybody else have any, everybody had the opportunity to ask a question. Rich, did you, Barry?
That's right on. No, sir.
Okay, I tell you what, they're going to be here. You can talk to them, meet them individually if you got questions for them. We're going to go ahead and conclude this part of the event and go to the next. But thank you guys for being here. Okay, I'd like to ask Mike Jones if he'll come up. He's running for the State House. He's unopposed, and in fact, I don't think there's no Democrat opposition either. We have no Democrats in office elected here in Covington County, and we're pretty happy about that. And I know Mike is really happy to be unopposed.
Well, I'm not sad about being unopposed. If someone asks, are we unopposed, so why are you coming to these events? I learned this from Trippy, and I've given him all the credit, and I told him I was going to do this. But I learned a long time ago from Trippy, you never stop running. You always run for the office. If you want the office and you want to stay in the office and you want to keep representing the people here at home, then it doesn't matter if you're unopposed. You keep running for the office. So that's what I do. And I thought it was good advice years ago, and I've tried to live by it. As far as what I have done, back in 2009, and Barry mentioned when we first started running, and I first started running for this job, I didn't believe in making a lot of campaign promises. I'm one of those people that believes if you make a promise, you keep it. And frankly, there's a lot of things that a lot of elected officials and people running for political office, they promise, but there's really no way they can honor it because you can't control everything. And so there's only two things that I promised back in 2009 and 2010. That I would hold town hall meetings before and after every session, and that I would never vote a bill that I had not read and understood it. And I happen to have, I guess, a witness here who spent a lot of time around me, Barry Moore. But to this day, I can say I've honored both those promises. I have never violated either one of those promises. I believe in them. It's sort of maybe who I am as far as in Montgomery. But oftentimes I sat next to Barry for about 4 years. And I usually keep notes on my calendars when we go over bills every day. And when everybody started finding out that I read all the bills and read them all the time and made notes on the bills, I was getting regular visitors that were coming to my desk and very smiling back there. But frankly, I believe in that. I believe if we're going to vote, if I want to represent you, then I need to know what I'm voting for. And I need to know if I'm helping or hurting our district. And it's hard to know that unless you read those bills. And guys, I've said this many times, it's a promise that I had no idea how many hours it would take to honor that promise. But I can assure you, I'm there those hours and I spend that time. As far as town hall meetings, same thing. And we're fortunate. Our senator for this district, Senator Hawley, I asked him to attend the very first town hall meeting I ever hosted. And at first, I think he was a little bit curious about whether I was going to come or not. He came. He's never missed one. He's been to every town hall meeting I've ever called. And I think you need to know how big a deal that is to have a House member and your Senate member that work so well together to represent our district. And Barry can speak to this too. It's rare, frankly. It's rare to have a good relationship with both of your representatives, the Senate and the House. And it does nothing but help our district. And so for that, I'm thankful. But most of all, I'm thankful for you. You have put your trust in me. I've tried to work very hard to honor that trust, and I'll continue to do that. I continue to try to work for our district and bring things home, and I've had opportunities to work with many people in this room, and I've enjoyed every bit of it. And I continue to expect to be held accountable. Now, just to make you aware, the next town hall meeting is here in Opp, April 26th, 6 p.m. at the Opp Adult Activity Center. One of the things I've always done is I've tried to move town hall meetings around all over the district to let everybody in the district have an opportunity to come to the town hall meetings. I've always made them open mic. Now, most politicians are terrified of open mic, but Barry and me and others, I love open mic. That's how you learn things. And I'll be telling you some things about some bills that passed, one in particular that started, once again, from people here in our district that came to visit me last summer, made me aware of a problem, and we did some research, we drafted a bill, and it passed. And so I'll be telling you about that bill during the town hall meeting. I wanted to take just this small moment, and I appreciate the opportunity, but I thank you very much for allowing me to represent you in Montgomery. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, it brings us down to the Covington County Sheriff race. Nikki Carnley, Dennis Meeks, and Blake Terman. The three of you will go ahead and make your way up here and sit on this back side.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here tonight, and I want to welcome everybody out, and glad y'all come out tonight. I apologize in advance. My throat is giving me some problems tonight, but I'm going to try to make it through it. I know most of you here, and most of you that are here know me. You've known me for a long time, and but if you don't, if you're here and you don't know me, let me just be real quick. I was born here in Opp, Alabama. I went to school here in Opp, Alabama. I graduated here in Opp, Alabama. So Opp is my hometown. I'm the only candidate up here tonight, and actually the only candidate in the history of Covington County that has worked in every division within the sheriff's office. I started in 1993 as a corrections officer in the old jail. I went on the road as a patrolman. I was moved into investigations, later chief investigator, chief deputy, before being elected sheriff my first term in 2006. When I was running in my first election in 2006, I didn't make a lot of promises. There were two that and I don't know if they were promises, but that there was something that I was real adamant about that I was going to do. If y'all remember, prior to 2006, there was a lot of problems in the sheriff's office, a lot of problems in the jail. Some of you here wrote about it in the newspaper, so y'all know very well what I'm talking about. The one thing that I said is we were going to repair the jail. We were going to find out what the problems were in the jail. And so as soon as I took office in January 2007, that was one of the first things that we did. We went through the jail and found a lot of security issues. Those were immediately corrected. One of the other things was that my officers were going to be trained, and they are trained. I've got one of the best group of officers, I think, in Covington County, the state of Alabama. They work very hard. I'm very proud of them. They not only do we send them to schools for training, we send them. I had 3 guys went to a school in Georgia probably 3 weeks ago. They go all over. We have there's training that comes in. Somebody will come in with a class, and I want my guys trained because we got too much going on in the state and the county, in the United States. I mean, I want them trained to the best, and I have never turned down any training for my guys whatsoever. The sheriff has to wear a lot of hats, if I may say. One of the things that some of y'all may not know is the sheriff doesn't deal with just one budget. He has to deal with 2. I got a budget for the sheriff's office. I got another budget for the jail. Together, those are almost $4 million. I supervise 56 people in the sheriff's office and jail. These are great people, and I can tell you, the sheriff's office would not run the way it does without their dedication and without their hard work. I've got some posse members here tonight, and we also have a reserve unit. I want to give a shout out to those guys because they work free of charge anytime that we call them out. Ladies and gentlemen, the sheriff's office is a large responsibility. It deserves somebody dedicated and committed and experienced to run the sheriff's office. Like I said a while ago, y'all have known me for a long time, in 12 years. I'm asking for your vote June 5th and asking you to let me continue to work for you. This is your sheriff's office, it's not mine. I work for you, you hire me. I'm asking you to hire me again. Thank you.
Okay, Blake Sherman.
Hey folks, I'm Blake Turman, and I too was raised right here in Opp. I see a lot of people here that I know. I'm married to Kim Kelly, and I have 3 daughters: Kelsey, Caitlin, and Callie Grace. I'm also an Alabama State Trooper, guys. I've been a State Trooper for 22 years. And in the course of being a State Trooper, I've monitored a lot of employees. I've been in charge of a lot of special details, and I also know what it's like to work with a little bit. I know what it's like to have to struggle, and I know how to take a little bit and make a lot out of it. And it goes through scheduling, but the most thing it goes through is leadership. You have to lead your men. You cannot expect what you do not inspect. As a supervisor with the Alabama Highway Patrol, I have always monitored my guys hands-on, and I've been an at-front supervisor with them. And I will continue to do that if elected sheriff. I understand that there's a lot of responsibility with the sheriff's office. When I was in the military, I served with the 101st Airborne Division. While in the military, we deployed to Egypt, and I was in charge of the weapons and things that went to Egypt. That was $8 million worth of equipment. I got it over there, and I got it back. We didn't lose one piece of equipment. I understand what it's like to be accountable for these type things. And I also understand what it's like to be accountable as the sheriff of Covington County. I would welcome anybody to come look at any books that I possibly have at any time. And I would also open up my books for past, anything that happened in the past, you'd be welcome to look at it. I also believe that it's time for us to communicate better with the law enforcement agencies within this county and also within surrounding counties in the state. Guys, we have to unclench our fists for the betterment of Covington County. We can't be upset with each other. I want us all to work together, most especially the county commission and the police departments in this county. And let's pool our resources together. Andalusia and Opp both have wonderful training facilities that are open for free of charge for anyone. Why can't we pool our resources together and offer training for our officers? I really don't care if you're wearing a blue uniform or a brown uniform or a pink uniform. As long as we're all working together for the common good, we still will be looking out for the people of this county. Now guys, I've never run the sheriff's department. I've never been a deputy. But for the past 22 years, I have prepared myself for this position. I've been to every school that the Alabama Department of Public Safety would possibly send me to that would help enhance my leadership abilities, whether it be the Montgomery Command and Staff College or all the National Incident Management courses that I've taken. I've taken a slew of them. You can imagine how much you can take in 22 years. I've worked the highway. I've made death notifications. I've been a traffic homicide investigator, an accident reconstructionist. I know how to put things together and find out what the problem is. You have to follow the evidence, and then you make a decision. Now, I also believe in service to everybody in this county. I do not care what color you are or where you're from or whatever your social status is. If you call my office, you will get an answer. Whether you'll get an answer from me, or you'll get an answer from my chief deputy, or you'll get an answer from somebody at that office, it will be a well-constructed answer. It may not be what you want to hear, but you will get an answer from my department. And also, if you call a deputy, they will come. You will not hear over the radio while I'm sheriff, well, do you want me to send a deputy out there? Because frankly, guys, if you went through the trouble to call the sheriff's department, they need to send a deputy out there. That's how I feel. As a trooper, I don't get to pick and choose my calls. I go to all calls, and I'm not going to let a deputy do that as well. I believe in the deputies of this county. We have some good, hard-working deputies in this county, some good jailers and some good employees with the Covington County Sheriff's Department. I want them compensated better. I promise that I will do everything that I can without raising taxes to possibly get these guys paid better. I'm ashamed at what these guys start out at. I truly am. How do you expect to raise a family on what a bare bones road deputy makes? I don't understand. They work 2 and 3 jobs. Anyway, I'm Blake Turman. I need you to vote for sheriff.
Thank you, and now we have Nikki Carmichael.
Thank you. I'm humbly honored to be standing before you tonight in Opp, Alabama. I want to say I know these others are claiming Opp, but let me tell you something. I still live here. Let me tell you something else. Because I've been out and about the county, especially over on the west side of the county, northwest side of the county. When I'm talking to people and go up and introduce myself and tell them who I am, they say, hey, we've heard of you. You're that boy from Opp. And you're right. I am that boy from Opp, and I am running as your sheriff from Covington County. Most of you know me. You know about me. You know who my family is. I don't want to spend more time on why I'm running for sheriff. I can tell you why I'm running for sheriff. Because I've listened to you. Because for over 36 years of my adult life, I've been in law enforcement, and I have worked for you. You are my employer. And I am working at the DA's office now. I heard your complaints. I've heard your frustrations. I've heard people complaining about how they've been victimized and how they can't get anything done about it. And you think if somebody's going to spend 36 years in law enforcement, they say, I'm done with it, I've had enough, I'm going to the house. But no, because it's my passion. I do it from my heart because of what happened to me and my family in August of 1977. And that started me the path I've been on. And I'm still continuing on that path. Because as long as there's breath in my body and somebody allows me, I'm going to protect and serve you. Because that's what it's about, protecting and serving you, the citizens of Covington County. It is my passion, it is my joy, and it is my love to be able to try to keep one of your family members from having to do what my family has been through. And so with that being said, I've heard that. I've heard how frustrated you are, how you can't get anything done. You can't get anybody to call you back. You can't get anybody, and when you go in and talk to it, not only have you been victimized once, you get victimized again by the way you get disrespected. Now think about this. Whether we want to admit it or not, we are all victims of crime, either directly or indirectly. You say, well, how am I indirectly a victim of crime? You've got to think about it this way. If someone's having stuff items stolen from them, they're going to file on the insurance to get their money back, to get their property replaced. So your rates are going to go up because they're in business to make money, not lose money. Same way with financial crimes. Credit cards, if they're being stolen and things are being taken, they're going to replace their loss. Same way one that's buying something for a business. They're going to replace it. You're going to pay at higher prices because they're in business. They understand they're in business to make money, not lose money. So they have to get it back from the law-abiding citizens, not the criminals. The other things that I've heard about is just the response time. I've heard 45 minutes, I've heard an hour, I've heard an hour and a half. There's no sense in that. My plan is to establish legitimate patrol zones. This should have already been done. There should be 4 shifts in Covington County staff with 4 deputies each shift. Hopefully 5. That way you can have a floater so you can better be served. Now also, I want to say this. That jail money, meal money, I will not take 1 cent of that. That money can go into the operations of the sheriff's department and that jail. That's taxpayer money. That's your money, it's not my money. And it shouldn't be going into my pocket because I know what that salary pays. And that's fine, that's enough, because I'm doing it because I do it from my heart, not for what I can make off of it. And that is not right either. And I've also heard the complaints about wanting to live, you don't hear, you've been shut out. You know, it's a lot of me that we ask for the public's help over and over again. We ask for your assistance when we need help when something happens. But yet we shut you out from being able to hear what's going on in your sheriff's department or your law enforcement agency. Why? It's just not like me. I don't understand why all of a sudden local law enforcement's come big brother government and we're trying to we want to control the flow of information. You have a right to know what's going on. You have a right to know so you can hold your agency accountable. And I want you to hold me accountable. I'm elected as your sheriff. I work for you. You are my employer. And I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to have a published number so you can get in contact. I don't understand what it's like to work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. I've been there, done it numerous times. But like I say, I do it because it's my love. I love to protect and serve you. And I would just ask on June 5th that you give me your consideration and vote for and support Nikki Carter, Sheriff of Covington County. Thank you.
Thank you. I wasn't born in Opp, but I do have some friends who live in Opp, so I just wanted to say. Good to have all you guys here. I just want to, I appreciate the quality that these candidates bring to this this campaign, and I want to say I appreciate the quality and the hopefully the gentleman-like demeanor that all of our candidates have had, and I hope that will continue. I remember in years past, there's been times when people would do some underhanded things and throw mud and say some hurtful things about other candidates or candidate families, and I really hope that that doesn't happen this time, and that we will continue our tradition of being genteel and respectful of others, because we are all here brothers and sisters together, and we have a lot in common. I did say we'll give you the opportunity to ask each other questions if you'd like to. We'll start back the same order we went a while ago. We'll ask Dennis if he has any questions you'd like to ask either of the other two. No? Okay, Blake, you got any questions?
I'd rather the people ask.
Okay. What about you?
I'll just decline if we're going to handle it like that. Go ahead.
Okay, that's good. I don't really dare ask him. I don't know. What do you think? Should I? My plan was to kind of hold off on questions from the group later, but does anybody have any burning questions they'd like to ask? We're going to try this over here.
I heard Nikki's comment on the jail money, and I'd like to know where the other two stand on the jail money.
This is how I stand on the jail money. It's not my money, but I know what the law is, and the law says that the sheriff can use the money as his personal own. I'm not going to do that. I'll take the money, keep it in an account, and when it's all said and done toward the end of the year, we'll see how much money's left in there, and I'll use it to better my department with. I know what the salary is for the sheriff, and I'm quite good with that.
Well, right now I'm operating under Alabama law. I do what the Alabama law tells me to do. Now, when I took office in 2007, nobody asked me, Sheriff, can I help you with that $40,000 that you had to go and borrow to feed the inmates? Not one soul. Not one soul. The only other thing I'll say is we had our taxes done about 4 weeks ago. Does everybody know what it means when you say I'm in the red? We were in the red. So I'm going to have a hat back here at the back door for anybody that would like to put a little donation in it to help me feed the inmates. Because this year, we were in the red.
Okay. Any other questions? Annette?
I want to know, the question I have is about all this stuff, I call it propaganda, everybody else calls fake news about gun control, we have laws. I'm concerned that they may do more
Okay, I tell you what, it's gonna be hard to hear that, the rest of the group is not gonna be able, but let me tell you, her question is about gun control. These guys don't make any policy on that, they just enforce the law, so, thanks for that, but we'll go ahead and move on. Any other? Blaine?
I just want to ask all three candidates, moving forward for the next 4 years, if you are elected to serve the next 4 years as sheriff, would you entertain assigning a specific employee the title of public information officer so that the public can be brought up to speed on a routine basis?
Okay, good question.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that at all, Wayne. Right now, I send out stuff, Robert, I think Robert's in here too. I send y'all stuff, when we have something go on. David, my chief deputy, he sends out stuff. We're not here, we're not trying to hide anything at all. Now a lot of our stuff that we consider day-to-day operation, day-to-day stuff, because we see it all the time. Y'all don't see it, so maybe to y'all it would be news. And maybe maybe that's what you're asking. That we put out maybe some more stuff, some more information on stuff that we just kind of think is maybe a day-to-day operation, where as to y'all it wouldn't be. So yeah, I don't have any problem with that.
Thank you, Dennis. For many years, I've been a public information education officer for the state of Alabama. It's been a second duty of mine. I think it's paramount that you guys know about it, and as far as assigning somebody, I will assign somebody to be the public information education officer. Not only to make sure we stay on top of notifying you guys, but they'll also have other duties as well as being part of the school system. We'll ensure all of our guys get out and notify the schools of upcoming training and things like that. It's going to be a dual type job, but mostly for public information.
Yes, as you know, I've been in investigation for 15 years, so I've dealt 15 years of investigation dealt with me a lot, and I understand that you need that information because your public, that you serve or listen to you or read your paper, they want to know what's going on. And I'm not opposed to having a public information officer. Also, I'm not opposed to embracing social media, Facebook, Twitter, to continue to get that information out. I'm not opposed to partnering with someone reliable and credible and trustworthy in the media that can come on sides and help us get that information out to the people. It's very important that they know what's going on.
Okay, I tell you what, with that, let's go ahead and wrap it up for this evening. We do have another event scheduled on May 15th down in Florella at the Rodney Evans Conference Center. We'll have opportunity for more questions from the group. So when you come to that, be prepared to go ahead and write them down, be prepared for that, and maybe we can have more interaction then. But we want to thank all of you for coming today, tonight. We have some who broke quite a ways to get here. Thank you for making this a successful event. And we ask that you just go ahead and as you can, encourage those around you to be prepared and go vote for our June election. Have a good evening.